All right, let's dive into a story that's as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. It's a parable about a beggar, a man at his wits' end who goes looking for the great philosopher Socrates because he's desperate for an answer to his poverty. And really, his entire life revolved around this one single agonizing question. He'd look around and see people who seemed happy, who had things, and he just couldn't wrap his head around his own situation. It felt completely unfair.
I mean, this question was his reality. Think about it. No home, not a penny to his name, and zero respect from anyone. His life was just this relentless loop of begging, just trying to get through the day, all while his prayers seemed to go completely unheard.
So in his head, he's thinking, I must be cursed. He was absolutely convinced that fate or God or whatever had just picked him out for a life of suffering. He was constantly asking, why can't I just have a house or a job, something better? He saw himself as a total victim, completely powerless.
But then, something changes. He starts hearing these rumors, these whispers about a man named Socrates, and the stories are amazing. People are saying this guy is unbelievably wise, that he has an answer for every problem, that listening to him could actually genuinely turn your life around.
And that's all it took. For the first time in forever, he feels this little spark of hope. So he makes a decision. He's going to find this Socrates. He sets off on this journey, and when he finally gets to Socrates' school, he is 100% convinced this is the guy. This is the one who's going to fix my life.
Okay, so just try to picture this scene, right? On one side, you've got the beggar. Desperate, emotional, probably hasn't eaten in days. And on the other, you have Socrates, this calm, collected philosopher. The beggar is ready to just let it all out, and he's probably expecting some kind of practical advice like, go here, do this. And that's exactly what he does. He pretty much collapses at Socrates' feet and just unloads everything. Years and years of pain come pouring out in this one heartbreaking question: why is everyone else happy? Why am I the only one who's poor? Why can't my life just change?
Socrates listens patiently, and then he drops an absolute bombshell. He looks the beggar in the eye and says, "You are poor because you have never given anything." Whoa. Can you imagine hearing that? The beggar is just floored, stunned, and that shock probably turns to pure rage in about 2 seconds. He must think Socrates is just mocking him, making some kind of sick joke.
And honestly, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's exactly what the beggar screams back at him. Are you kidding me? I'm a beggar. My whole life is about asking people for things. What on earth could I possibly have to give anyone? And you know what? It sounds like a pretty fair point.
But this is Socrates we're talking about. This is where his genius really shines. He's about to totally flip the script on what it means to be wealthy. He's going to show the beggar that he's been sitting on a treasure chest this whole time and just never, ever realized it.
And the advice he gives is so simple, but it's also incredibly profound. He basically tells him, look, first you have a smile. You can give kindness with it, but you're always frowning. Second, you have a tongue. You can speak gentle words, but all you do is complain. Third, you have your eyes. You can look at people with love and compassion. And fourth, you have hands. And those hands aren't just for taking. They're for working, for helping.
So do you see what he did there? Socrates just completely redefined what poverty even means. He's saying it has nothing to do with your bank account. Real poverty, true poverty, is when you don't even see the amazing gifts you already have, let alone use them. It's a poverty of the spirit, not the wallet.
And you can just imagine this idea just shatters the beggar's entire reality. Everything he thought he knew is turned upside down. He walks away from Socrates a totally different person, and the very next day, he doesn't just think about it. He starts living it.
And the transformation is incredible. It's like night and day. Before, he was always sad, always complaining. Now, he's starting his day with a smile, actually greeting people. Before, he was basically invisible. People just walked past him. Now, they're starting to notice him, to respect him. He went from a life of only taking to actually using his hands to help, carrying something for someone, offering a hand, and that constant despair, it's replaced by a real sense of purpose.
And it makes perfect sense, right? As soon as he started giving these little things that cost him nothing, a smile, a kind word, a little help, the way people saw him completely changed. They saw he was sincere, and so they started giving back to him. Little by little, people started offering him small jobs, some help, and most importantly, their respect. His life started turning around.
Okay, so let's bring this home. What does this ancient story have to do with you and me today? Well, it's a huge lesson, right? It's all about shifting our own focus. Instead of obsessing over what we don't have, it's about looking at what we do have and realizing that maybe, just maybe, our greatest strengths have nothing to do with money or possessions.
And this really gets to the core of it all. The big takeaway is this: life is basically a giant mirror. It doesn't just give you stuff, it gives you back exactly what you put out there. You put out negativity, complaints, and misery, guess what you're going to get back? But if you put out generosity, kindness, and love, well, that's what's going to come back to you too.
So how do we actually put this into practice? It's surprisingly simple, really. If you want to receive love, you've got to give love first. If you want happiness, you'll find it in giving, not just in getting. The rule is, if you want to receive, you have to start by sharing. And even if you feel like you have absolutely nothing, you can always share in someone else's sorrow just by being there and listening.
And that's really what I want to leave you with today. This whole story is a challenge, isn't it? It forces us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves a really important question. What are the hidden treasures that I have right now, a smile, a compliment, a moment of my time, that I might be forgetting to share?